What if the rise and fall of nations isn't caused by luck, kings, or even technology, but by a hidden cycle that repeats itself again and again? What if someone figured this out 600 years before modern economics even existed? Here's the mystery. Why do powerful empires always collapse the same way after becoming rich, stable, and sophisticated? Why does prosperity itself plant the seeds of decline? Most people credit modern thinkers like Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or Keynes for understanding economic cycles. But centuries earlier, in North Africa, a man watching dynasties rise and fall came to a shocking conclusion. Economic collapse is not an accident. It is predictable. His name was Ibn Khaldun. His ideas still explain why economies boom, stagnate, and break today. Setting the stage, a world of constant collapse. To understand Ibn Khaldun, we must step back into the 14th century. This was not a stable world. The Islamic Golden Age was fading. The Mongol invasions had destroyed cities. The Black Death wiped out up to 40% of populations across regions. Vanished just as quickly. North Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Europe were locked in a constant cycle of political chaos. One ruler replaced another. One empire fell, another took its place. Yet no one seemed to learn from history. Ibn Khaldun wasn't a king or a general. He was a judge, diplomat, historian, an observer, someone who served multiple regimes and watched them all fail. And slowly, a question began to haunt him. Why does history keep repeating itself? Most historians simply recorded events. Ibn Khaldun wanted laws, rules that governed society itself. That search would lead him to write one of the most revolutionary books ever produced, Al-Muqaddimah, Origins, the thinker shaped by instability. Ibn Khaldun was born in 1332 in Tunis, into a family of scholars and statesmen. His early life was marked by privilege, but also instability. By his 20s, the Black Death had killed many of his teachers and family members. Political betrayal was common. Loyalty meant little. Power changed hands overnight. As he moved between courts in North Africa and Spain, Ibn Khaldun noticed something strange. New rulers always started the same way, humble, disciplined, and united. Old rulers always ended the same way, luxurious, corrupt, and disconnected. This wasn't coincidence, it was pattern. It's the rise, how economic cycles begin. Ibn Khaldun argued that all civilizations begin with Asabiyyah, powerful concept meaning social cohesion or group solidarity. At the start, leaders live simply, taxes are low, people are productive, trust is high. The state interferes minimally because the government demands little, people work harder. Trade grows, wealth increases, the economy expands. This is the growth phase of the cycle. Production rises, total wealth rises. When wealth rises, the state benefits naturally. This is how civilizations rise, but success carries a hidden danger. The breaking point when success turns to decay as wealth accumulates, rulers change. Luxury replaces discipline. Palaces replace tents. Bureaucracy replaces unity. The ruling class becomes detached from the people who produce wealth. To maintain luxury, the state raises taxes, expands administration, it raises taxes again. This triggers a deadly chain reaction. Higher taxes reduce incentives. Productivity declines, trade slows, revenue falls, so the state responds the only way it knows how. More control, more taxation, more force. This is the economic breaking point. Ibn Khaldun warned that once a government becomes dependent on heavy taxation, decline becomes inevitable. The economy doesn't collapse overnight, it withers. Fallout, the slow death of civilizations as economic vitality fades, social cohesion breaks down. People stop identifying with the state. Corruption spreads, merit disappears. Positions are bought, not earned. Meanwhile, a new group, often poorer, tougher, and more united, emerges at the edges of society. They still have Asabiyyah. Eventually, they overthrow the weakened civilization. The cycle resets. According to Ibn Khaldun, most civilizations last 3 to 4 generations. Founders build sons, maintain grandsons, enjoy great-grandsons, destroy. This wasn't philosophy. It was historical observation. Failed fixes why reforms never work. Many rulers tried to stop decline. Printed more currency, forced price controls, blamed merchants, expanded surveillance, punished dissent. Ibn Khaldun argued all these failed because they treated symptoms, not causes. The real cause was structural: loss of social trust, excessive state control, punishment of productivity. Once a society crosses that threshold, reform becomes almost impossible. Why? Because those in power benefit from the system, even as it collapses. Modern parallels history repeating again now. Here's the unsettling part. Modern data mirrors Ibn Khaldun almost perfectly. Today, global debt exceeds $300 trillion. Many developed economies rely heavily on taxation and borrowing. Productivity growth is slowing. Worldwide governments expand bureaucracy, while small businesses struggle in several major economies. The top 1% control more wealth than the bottom 50%. Trust in institutions is at historic lows. Social cohesion is fracturing. Sound familiar? Ibn Khaldun predicted this 600 years ago. He warned that no civilization escapes the cycle, not Rome, not the Abbasids, not modern states. Technology doesn't break the cycle. Wealth doesn't break the cycle. Power doesn't break the cycle. Only discipline and restraint delay it. Final takeaways, the lessons that still apply. So what does Ibn Khaldun teach us today? Takeaway 1. Economic decline begins with moral and institutional decay, not financial crisis. Recessions are symptoms, not causes. Takeaway 2. High taxation and overregulation destroy productivity long before collapse becomes visible. By the time revenue falls, it's already too late. Takeaway 3. Social cohesion is the real currency of civilizations. When trust disappears, no amount of money can save a system. Warning and open-ended thought: Ibn Khaldun believed collapse wasn't fate, but it was likely. The question isn't whether civilizations fall. The question is whether they recognize the pattern in time. And here's the uncomfortable thought. Are we living at the peak or already in the decline? Call to action. If this story changed how you see history, economics, or the world today, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes collapse comes from chaos, not patterns. Because the most dangerous illusion isn't ignorance. It's thinking this time is different.